Good morning, students. Today we are going to study a beautiful poem by Robert Frost. This is a simple and a short poem, yet it has got a deeper and larger meaning. The poet explains how an act as petty as experiencing snow on one's body can brighten one's day up. So let's begin with the explanation of the poem. The poem is of 2 stanzas and each stanza has got 4 lines. The first stanza is like, "The way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree." Now let me explain the meanings of 2 words used in this first stanza. The first word is shook. Shook meaning is to shake. And the second word is hemlock. Hemlock is a kind of tree which is poisonous and has got small white flowers. So the poet over here in this scene is very sad. The poet is sad, the poet is unhappy, and the poem is set in a scene where the poet, who is in a bad mood, walks by a tree, a hemlock tree. Hemlock tree is a poisonous tree, as I told you before, and while passing by, a crow happens to throw some snow dust on him. Dust of snow means small particles of snow. Now whether it has fallen down on the shoulder or on the head of the poet is not clear and there is no specific mention in the poem. And also about the crow, whether the crow was landing, shivering with cold, readjusting itself on the branch, or was going to take off, we don't know, but it has brought down some particles of snow upon the author. The 2 agents of nature used over here, the first one is the hemlock tree and the second one the crow. They both are the signifiers of sadness and gloom, just like the poet's mood that was in the opening scene of the poem in the first stanza. Now let us go to the second stanza. Has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Now for reasons unknown, we don't know what was the reason behind his sadness. The author was having a terrible day, but the falling of the snow on his head lifted his mood instantly. He had already spent his day in a bad mood, the half of the day, but the rest of it was saved by the crow and the hemlock tree. Both of them represents negativity, represents sadness, but what they have done, they have brought a change in the mood of the poet. And because of those 2 negative creatures, half of the day which the poet would have wasted in sorrow, grief, sadness, now the half of the day is saved. So he says, the activity of the crow, that is bringing down small particles of snow on him, the feathery soft snow on his body, has brought a change in the mood of the poet. And thank God, I have saved some part of a day I had rued. Generally, a hemlock tree and crow are used for negative references, but the poet used them beautifully to portray that inauspicious things can bring joy and happiness too. One must not take things for granted and should be open and accept whichever way the nature chooses to bless us. Now let us go quickly summary in points. The first point over here is like the poet over here throws light upon the unimaginable healing power of nature. Second, 2 negative creatures have been used over here. Still, the poet saves half of his day and his mood has turned into happiness. Supremacy of nature as a whole made him realize how petty his problem was. From this poem, we can understand that no problem is so big that it cannot be solved. The only thing we need to have in ourselves is positive energy. And positive energy we see around us. The only thing we need to do is we need to feel, we need to understand, we need to feel the positive energy around us. So nature over here has played a very important role. The poet says the objects which were linked with negative aspects of life can be the bringer of change and happiness. Being outdoors in nature with all its unpredictability can benefit anyone, anywhere, at any time. So this is the summary of this poem. Let us quickly go through the literary devices used in the poem. The first device used is alliteration. Alliteration means use of consonant sound in the same line. For example, if can you see in the second stanza of your poem, has given my heart, her. Both of them, both the words has and heart have got consonant sound. It means there is alliteration. And saved some part, saved some, sir, again alliteration. Second figure of speech is assonance. Assonance is the prominence of a vowel sound throughout a line is called assonance. For example, shook o, down o, on. So shook has got o sound, down has got o sound, on has got o sound. So a continuous use of vowel sound in the same line is called assonance. Next is symbolism. Hemlock tree and crow, both of them signifies negativity, negative energy. So symbolism. Fourth is irony. Irony is a contrast between the reality and expectation. What is said and what is meant. What appears to be true and what the real truth is. So these are the four figures of speech used in the poem. Following are the question answers which you need to copy in your notebook, and I hope my explanation has made the poem clear to everyone. Thank you, children.